Good morning, students. This is Sampat Bhadu, Assistant Professor of English, Government College, Sri Dungargarh, Bikaner. Let's take up the next poem entitled Once Upon a Time, penned by Gabriel Okara. Gabriel Okara, a Nigerian poet and novelist whose poetry is based on a series of contrasts in which symbols are neatly balanced against each other. The need to reconcile the extremes of experience, life and death are common themes, preoccupies his verse, and a typical poem has a circular movement from everyday reality to a moment of joy and back to reality again. Gabriel Okara incorporated African thought, religion, folklore, and imagery into both of his verse and prose. His first novel, The Voice, was published in 1964, is a remarkable linguistic experiment in which Okara translated directly from the Izo language, imposing Izo syntax onto English in order to give literal expression to African ideas and imagery. The present poem, Once Upon a Time, is a comment on society through a monologue from a father to a son, which bemoans the loss of innocence in the transition from child to adult and a desire to revert to that blissful childhood. The poet tells his son about the behavior of people in the past and in the present, in the old days and in the modern world. He remembers a time when people had true feelings for one another. The poet has a deep desire to go back to the innocence of childhood. He is dissatisfied with his own changed self. He thinks that his son's genuine laughter can teach him how to express his feelings honestly. He wants to relearn how to behave in a natural way. The poet here tells his son about the behavior of people in the past and present, in the old days and in the modern world, and how the behavior had changed with the passage of time. In the old days, the wants to say that people used to be very honest to their words, they kept their promise, they were very much cordial, they were very much friendly with each other. But now their behavior had changed into artificial one. Earlier, behavior used to be natural one. People wanted one another by heart. But nowadays, in present time, people don't want the contact, the connection with the people. The warmth of relationship has lost somewhere. We don't want the presence of people with us simply because we are hankering after money and wealth, amassing more and more wealth. That's the main factor behind this decline or downfall of behavior in humanity across the world. Let's take up the text. Once upon a time, son, they used to laugh with their hearts and laugh with their eyes. But now, they only laugh with their teeth, while their eyes block cold eyes search behind my shadow. In this opening stanza, the poet addresses his son when he writes, Son. It shows that he is talking to his son or someone who is younger than him, likely to be in his childhood days. The phrase, once upon a time, also makes the beginning of the poem sound like the poet is telling his son a story. He then writes, They used to laugh with their heart and laugh with their eyes. It shows that it happened in the past and does not happen now. And he says that in previous times, people would laugh with their hearts and would really laugh out of happiness, and their happiness reflected in their eyes. But now they only laugh with their teeth. When the poet says now they only laugh with their teeth, he means that people now, where they do laugh, they only laugh for the sake of laughing, not out of real happiness. And then he goes on to say, while their eyes block shadow, by using a metaphor, the writer says that the person who is laughing laugh with his her eyes as cold and as solid as ice, and there is no happiness whatsoever inside the person's eyes, while they search behind his shadow, as in they look right past him without paying any attention to him whatsoever. This stanza sums up talking about when he was young, when people would laugh with their hearts, and how people have changed to laugh without happiness and to fake laugh while their cold eyes would be dead with grief. The poet here tells his son about the behavior of people in the past and in the present, in the olden days and in the modern world. Eyes block cold eyes means the eyes without warmth, excitement, vigorousness, and emotions, in which there is no shining of happiness. Next stanza. There was a time indeed they used to shake hands with their hearts, but that's gone, son. Now they shake hands without hearts, while their left hands search my empty pockets. In this stanza, Gabriel says that in the past there was really a time when people would shake hands with hearts and be happy. They would actually shake hands with pleasure, but now that has gone, means this is no more. The time has gone when people really were full of warmth and excitement, and they welcomed the others with pleasure and happiness. There was no affectation or show off in their behavior as can be seen in present time. In the next line, the poet is indicating that the person whom he is meeting is searching his pockets while they are empty, which give you an idea that the poet would not have any valuables in his pocket. To summarize this stanza, it would be enough to say that people in the early 19th century would meet and greet each other with their full hearts out of utter happiness and with a good intention. Whereas nowadays it has turned completely opposite, and people don't just shake hands without hearts, they search in your pockets to know whether you are rich or poor. They will show false warmth and smiling to you when you are rich. It indicates that people have become money minded, and one can get others smiling and welcome only if one is rich. A poor is not welcomed. People nowadays only respect and are interested in those who are rich, powerful, successful, or famous. They don't value or respect those who have no wealth or position. That's the irony of present time. Next, feel at home, come again, they say. And when I come again and feel at home, once, twice, there will be no thrice. For then I find doors shut on me. This stanza starts with feel at home, come again, they say. By this, we can understand that the poet is reminding us of how we invite people to our homes and for tea. Then he later says, and when I come again and feel at home, once, twice, there will be no thrice. By saying this, the poet means that when the invited person does feel at home once, then it is okay. When he does this a second time, then it is also accepted. But when he tries the third time, well, there will be no third time, as in the person inviting will not allow you to come, as he goes on to say, for then I find the doors shut on me. In this stanza, the poet is saying that when people invite each other for tea, for dinner, or just to his or house, then they will allow them to come a couple of times with pleasure, but after a while they will get fed up and slam the doors shut on you. In other words, not allow you to come in their homes. Next. So I have learned many things. Son, I have learned to wear many faces like dresses: home face, office face, street face, host face, cocktail face, with all their conforming smiles like a fixed portrait smile. Wonderful stanza. Gabriel Okara addresses his son and says that he has learned many things from this world. The entire world is a teacher for him. As we grow, we learn many things from society. We learn about the social behavior. We become, we intend to be more artificial. We leave a trace of naturalism. A natural smile goes off, dies away. A behavior disappears. The real behavior, the original behavior, the natural behavior disappears. And it is replaced with the artificial one due to the social behavior, the social surrounding. We learn from society how to behave in an artificial manner. Gabriel Okara here addresses his son, says that he had learned many things from this world. The second line of the stanza says, I have learned to wear many faces. It shows that he has adapted to use different faces for different occasions. When he goes on to saying some of the occasions and their faces, office face, street face, cocktail face, etc. And he finally goes on to say, like a fixed portrait smile, which indicates that all these faces never change and it is like a smile fixed for its own occasion. Summing up, this stanza has been focused on how people tend to change their facial expressions for different occasions, and how for each occasion people tend to behave a different smile, like a fixed picture that never changes. Dear students, here through this stanza, Gabriel Okara satirizes the social behavior, that how modern society had changed, how ancient people used to be original, honest, friendly, and amiable. But nowadays, they have assumed an artificial appearance. They behave differently on different occasions. They wear different faces, different smiles. They have artificial outfit, outlook. They have double standards in their mind. They have double appearance, the external and the internal. They are not what they appear. They are what they don't appear. This is the crux of this stanza, in my view. Means natural behavior, the original behavior has been replaced with the artificial one. And it's quite true. Simply because nowadays people don't respect, people don't regard, they don't value those who are poor, who are helpless, who are resourceless, who are without wealth. People only value or regard or respect those who are rich, who are holding some higher position, who are all powerful, who are successful. They are respected across the world, across the society. Next. And I have learned too to laugh with only my teeth and shake hands without my heart. I have also learned to say goodbye when I mean good riddance, to say glad to meet you without being glad, and to say it's been nice talking to you after being bored. Wonderful, wonderful. The poet starts this stanza by signifying that he also has adapted to the environment around him, that he has also picked up the bad habits that are hovering around. By saying, and I have learned to, he then says, to laugh with only my teeth, which suggests that he also has learned how to laugh without happiness and laugh only for the sake of laughing. Then the writer goes on and writes, I have also learned to say goodbye when I mean good riddance, to say glad to meet you without being glad. This demonstrates that now he has also learned how to say goodbye in a nice way and not mean it in a good way at all. As he says, when he means good riddance, he now says glad to meet you without being pleased or glad, as he says after being bored, which indicates that it was boring meeting the person. However, he put on a smile and cheerful face whilst talking to him. To summarize, the writer is saying that there are no true emotions in his words and feelings, and they are said with just this his tongue and not with his heart. Overall, in this stanza, the writer shows how his environment has had impact on how he behaves, how he is emotionally detached from other people, how he has destroyed his passion and made his heart unfeeling. The external circumstances, the social behavior, the social circumstances have taught the poet to behave in an artificial way. He says, I say goodbye to a person when I don't mean. And when I say glad to meet you, but really at heart, I'm not glad. I don't want to meet the person. When I say it has been nice to meet you after being bored, this is the reality. And it does happen. When you meet a person who bores you, you don't like the talks of the person, you just want that the person must depart from there, must leave you off. But you don't express, you feel. And at the end of the meeting, for the sake of formality, out of artificiality, you say, it has been nice to meet you. This is quite ironical. We don't want to say that line, and what we say, we don't mean. Next stanza. But believe me, son, I want to be what I used to be when I was like you. I want to unlearn all these muting things. Most of all, I want to relearn how to laugh. For my laugh in the mirror shows only my teeth like a snake's bare fangs. Here, the poet describes how he used to be. It seems that he is talking to a child or a young man who has not yet experienced the changing of heart, who has not yet been influenced by the environment and the society in which he lives. The poet says in the first line of stanza, but believe me, son, emphasizing with regret, I want to be what I used to be. I want to unlearn all these muting things. I want to relearn how to laugh. These lines describe his desperation to go back. He is desperate to return, to revert to his old and innocent ways where he felt life was simple and emotions were honest. It also describes his hope and desire to unlearn all the bad habits he has picked up over the years and to relearn the good habits of childhood. Dear students, childhood is a stage that is free from all sorts of artificiality, all sorts of shows off. Childhood, we have innocence. A child is innocent. The child does not hide or conceal anything in his or her heart. Whatever comes to his heart, he expresses it, he reveals it. But as one grows, one learns how to behave according to the situations. One learns multiple bad things, several artificial things. One learns how to befool someone. One learns how to make somebody happy, though one does not want. But a child is always very innocent, very true to his heart, very honest, simply because the child has not learned from the society the crooked behavior from the society. Next and last. So, show me, son, how to laugh. Show me how I used to laugh and smile once upon a time when I was like you. That means while I was a child like you. In this final stanza, the poet asks the son, almost pleading, requesting him to show me, son, how to laugh. Show me how I used to laugh and smile. The writer sums up what he has been trying to say throughout the whole poem to the person is having the conversation with that teach him all the good habits he has lost and teach him to have true emotions. Dear students, the poet here wants to relive his childhood, but alas, once it has gone, we can't revert to it. We can't go back. The poet wants to live his childhood simply because he wants to be honest, he wants to be innocent, he wants to be natural, and he wants to be original. It's a very beautiful poem. That's all. Have a nice time ahead. Thank you.